year in operation.
So, Greg, I'm going to pause you there because I
Yep.
did not toggle caster, so nobody's heard a single thing we said in the last 2 minutes. So, I'm going to start
Womp
this all over
womp.
again.
Whoop-da-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
And now we are, in fact, streaming live. Welcome, folks, once again. And I'll stop with all the good evening stuff. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show in which we, the folks at Nerd Caliber, talk to you about nerd news that have happened in the last week. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook, Burley_adopter on Twitter. Joining me tonight, we've just done this because I forgot to turn everything on. Joining me tonight is Greg. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. Greg Snyder, aka Wonder Llama. Cosplay, photography, depends on where you catch me. Psyched to be back here. It's been a little while since I've been on the show. Psyched to see my good friends Rodney and Gogo. It's been a while since I've seen y'all as well. As I was just mentioning a moment ago, I just popped out of writing up my recap and review of the new Addams Family 2 animated movie. Keep an eye on nerdcaliber.com in the next couple days for that review. I'm sure we'll post it on our social media channels as well. And for anybody that may be in the greater Boston area this weekend, our photo studio, Red Raven Studios, we're just south of Boston. We are doing an open house. We couldn't do it last year when COVID was much more prevalent, but with vaccinations and everybody being good about masks, we are doing an open house this weekend. So if you're interested, check us out, Red Raven Studios on Facebook or Instagram, and keep an eye out for the open house and hope to see you there.
I would say just south of Boston, more accurately, just east of Rhode Island, but, okay.
It's Southeast Mass.
There you go.
New
And
Bedford.
welcome back to the show, the amazing, the wonderful Gogo. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gogo Incognito. I have been a Nerd Caliber contributor for a long time. I love being here. I love my Nerd Caliber family, and I'm so happy to be back after a break with Dragon Con. So you can always find me and talk to me at Instagram at Gogo Incognito. No, I did that wrong. Gogo underscore. That's what that means. Gogo underscore Incognito. And starting this Sunday,
so
we're gonna make this a dance. Gogo underscore Incognito. Gogo underscore Incognito. Anyway, you can find me starting this Sunday as a host on Radio Margaritaville. I'll have more on that in the weeks to come, but I am very happy to be working with somebody who actively encourages cosplay at all of his shows. So Go Incognito, really happy to be back.
Awesome.
Wait, can I be a guest on your show? I actually have a gigantic parrot costume.
Yeah, I know. That's why we were talking about you coming down to visit me also. And
I did leave the head at Dragon Con, but I have the rest of the costume.
Can I be a guest on your show?
It's gonna be a whole thing.
I drank too much and got sick at Margaritaville once. No, anyway, I still enjoyed it.
Yep.
So, in the chat already, folks, Luminous, welcome to the show again. Hello, all. I'm on my phone. Okay.
Hey, Luminous.
Let me know if the experience is different. Osvaldo, welcome to the show. Let's see if we've got anybody over here in the other chats. Not yet. All right, cool. All right, like I said, we got a lot to go on. We're breaking things up a little bit this time. The first few topics will actually be big, deep discussions, and we're going to zip through a lot of news because there was a lot of news. And then the last few topics will be big, deep discussions because there's a lot of stuff that's, really important. This is a big, big week.
Cool stuff.
And we're going to start right off. So I'm sure a whole bunch of you watched the Netflix live. So they call this event Tudum, Tudum, which is supposed to be a representation of the sound Tudum of Netflix. It was the dumbest. Too dumb. It was in fact too dumb. It was the dumbest marketing, but it made it really easy to search for images with that hashtag. So I guess thanks, Netflix. First up, that is Vesemir in the teaser not trailer, teaser video bits that we saw in the Netflix event from the upcoming season of The Witcher, season 2. It was exciting. It was very interesting, I think, to see a lot of the people and characters that we were waiting to see, to get a sense of where the story is going. But it didn't give us a whole lot of additional news. But I really liked it. They also dumped at the same time some actually really interesting additional news. So there's going to be yet another animated movie, like The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, which told the story of young Vesemir. The story of the attack on Kaer Morhen and ultimately Geralt's group of young recruits who are the last Witchers. They will also be making, and this kind of blew my mind, a family-friendly Witcher series.
Why?
Those two words don't go together.
Why? Money. That's why. Because there are people who shouldn't be watching anything they've made so far.
Gotta monetize that shiz.
Exactly.
Yes, lots of boobies. Even that first episode, a lot of boobies.
Exactly. And they will be making, they also talked a little bit, although they didn't show any footage from it, about Blood Origins, which is the prequel that tells the story of the creation of the first Witchers and the conjunction of the spheres that brought humans and monsters and everything else into this elven world. Luminous, that Netflix event seemed geared towards a younger audience. The hosts that I saw looked like they just got their braces off. Okay, Grandpa, tell them to get off your lawn.
Woofda.
Man shakes fists at cloud.
Exactly. I know Luminous well enough that I can say that.
There you go.
So, yeah. I mean, yes, it was skewed kind of young. Or like the hosts they had a whole segment on Korean content. So, K-dramas and other, Korean entertainment, which is huge for Netflix. And there's some fantastic shows on Netflix that are made in Korea. But those hosts were, I think, from either young audience geared Korean dramas or actual idol bands. They looked like they were 12. So I get it. It's still very interesting stuff that they were talking about, even if the people talking about it seem to be still in high school.
But many of them, as we know, are not.
Well, yes, that is absolutely true.
Not even close or slightly, but when you look that good, you work it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely true. So any of the Netflix news or stuff, particularly the teaser for The Witcher 2, anybody?
Well, if you've been watching this show anytime consistently where I've been on, you'll know that I love The Witcher as a viewer. I watch a lot of the playthroughs. I watch a lot of the stuff. I follow the cosplayers. I've read a little bit of fan fiction here and there. I am Team Yennefer. But
all the Dandelion fanfic.
Yeah, I have not been able to follow that first season of the show. So I am going to give it the old college try with the second, which has said to be a more, consistent and not just like you have to know everything Witcher to follow it.
Right. And it looks like, I'm guessing it is going to be much more of a linear story, whereas the first one bounced around in time like crazy.
It really did. And I watched this trailer and I was like, okay, I still don't know exactly what's going on here, but I've heard from everyone else who's like a giant Witcher fan, player, etc., that this is a linear story. So I am tuning in and I'm going to give it my all.
Go for it. So I'm in the very small, but I was going to say vocal, but I don't care enough to be vocal. I did not like it. I was sort of on board. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge swords and sandals fan, if you will, epic fantasy. So this should be right in my wheelhouse. But the minute that goddamn Coin for Your Witcher came on, I had to be restrained from throwing the remote control through the TV. As a musician, I wanted to murder everything I saw. Never went back. Tried to read the books, couldn't read the books. I don't know whether it's because they're in Polish and they're translated and the idioms don't come through quite as well, but I just thought it was badly written. And I'll read some garbage, but I could not get through the books either.
Later, we're going to get into just a little teaser, Rodney, a little bit of Doctor Who, which has so many books. And again, your mileage may vary. I haven't tried with the Witcher books, even though those have been recommended. Again, I just really enjoy watching people play a game that I'm like, just take me on that journey.
And if I would recommend, Greg, if you want to play the game, particularly The Witcher 3, the last one, The Wild Hunt, I think you'd love it because it almost completely eschews any of the bardic stuff. You do ultimately interact with Dandelion, who is very different in the books and the games than he's portrayed in the series. But like you can mostly just quest through that stuff and fast forward through all the dialogue stuff.
Okay.
The sense of the world that the games gives you is absolutely stunning. So
I've seen. I will say this: my favorite thing about the Witcherverse, if that's a word, is the cosplayers.
Yes.
I've shot with a bunch of incredibly talented cosplayers who've done stellar work on armor and weapons and makeup and wigs and everything that goes into bringing a character to life in IRL. And everything in between. People that just, go to Spirit Halloween and buy a white wig and buy a cheap plastic sword. And hey, you do you, baby. They're having fun with
Greg,
it.
you and I had that that interview with Maul Cosplay, MAUL, at PAX East like a few hot years ago.
2017, I'm thinking.
He was Henry Cavill before Henry Cavill was Geralt.
Yep. And
my goodness.
Just to throw that out there, folks, if you want to check him out or check out that interview, it is some of the most amazingly accurate, chainmail and armor leather. Everything he makes is vegan.
He and his wife.
Yes. Yeah.
Who doesn't appear on camera, but he references her completely as, well, she made this and I made this and she made this. Also, one of the kindest people of cosplay megastar you could ever know.
Yep.
And we have that interview. So yeah.
So go check it out, folks. It's amazing. Yeah, so it's really Witcher 3 or 2 season 2, I really hope it is much more of a linear story, so people who had and Gogo, you're not alone in my friends talking about how just incredibly confusing that first season was. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's December 17th, and I guarantee that within the week or two prior to that, all of the Screen Rants and Screen Crushes and IGNs and everybody else and Nerdist are going to have what you need to know before season 2 starts. Just watch one of those, and
there you go. And I don't think you touched on this, but I have seen the headline pop up a couple of times. They also announced that they're renewing it for a third season.
Yes,
in addition to
we saw that too.
The upcoming second season.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's in this article. I knew there was something else that I forgot. Yes, they've already renewed it for season 3.
So clearly,
3 months.
Clearly, the money is good.
Yep.
The money is good, and let's be real. Looking at Henry Cavill from the back,
doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
so whoever is making those pantaloons, well done, costume designer.
Yes, that's why he's known as the Booty of Blaviken. Oh, the Butcher of Blaviken. I get that wrong. Okay, my bad.
Thank you, folks. We'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Novograd's ass. That's Novograd's ass right there.
Wow.
Anyway, so moving on to our next reveal coming out of Netflix. Ta-dum.
Ta-dum.
Ta-dum. Stranger Things Season 4. We got another teaser, and this time, finally, we got to see the kids. It wasn't just David Harbour. It wasn't just Hopper in a gulag. or look back at some sort of horrible thing that happened while Eleven was actually in the facility. That teaser was pretty disturbing. This is kind of disturbing too, because it's the kids going into a haunted house, and we get to see a little bit of what that haunted house was back in the late 50s, when apparently the dad in this family goes crazy and kills the whole family.
Got some serious Shining vibes going.
Yeah,
for sure. Shining vibes. And as a Stranger Things mega fan who watched this and then was like, I need to rewatch everything. And I did. I love this. I also, Rodney, I missed those ones of David Harbour, who is one of my favorites, who I have cosplayed. I've hosted shows, as Hopper. Absolutely. I missed those. So this was really the first in-depth look I had, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I mean, you can go back, you go to YouTube and just search for them, and they're worth looking at, particularly the 11 one, because it does really inform some of what the story is probably going to be about. The Hopper one is really just a quick,
Also, I might have messed up Harbor and Hopper.
Yeah, well, I was talking. Character is Hopper, actor is Harbor.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah,
Harbor,
we got that. Yeah.
Uma, Oprah, Uma.
I think it's really cool. I love the idea that they've cast Robert Englund to play the now much more mature dad killer, Victor Creel. Is it the Creel house?
I think that's really brilliant. I think it's absolutely on brand. I really like the Russell brothers. Yes, I have that correct?
No, the oh, come on, what's the name of the two brothers? Duffers.
Duffer
brothers.
There you go.
Don't listen to me. I came here from the gym and I actually haven't eaten the Duffer brothers. Thank you. Oh, I don't know who the Russells are. Shoo.
You're probably thinking of the Russo brothers, which is, of course, Marvel's.
Oh my God, that's exactly who I'm thinking of. Thank you for making me.
They're the guys that made Community, and then they did some other stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Good point.
Anyway. Yeah, I thought this was a really good trailer. It didn't show that much, but it gave us the heart and soul of the show, the kids.
Yep.
Didn't need to.
And we get Steve back, and Steve the Hare Harrington.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy because one of the factoids of the show is that they had written him off in the first season with getting chomped and killed by the Demogorgon. But the actor was just so engaging and he was so nice, and they just really liked him. It's like, we don't want him to die. And now he's become a fan favorite, gone on to do movies.
Yeah. And he's, that was one of the best heel turns done in a pretty much kids-oriented show ever. Such a mature heel turn. It was wonderful. I loved that bit about it.
I absolutely did too. So seeing him come in with the kids, I loved it.
So this also kind of, after a fashion, bookends our last topic about vibe and aesthetic in a trailer. That trailer doesn't give you a whole lot of information about what's going on in the Creel house, but anytime you set something in that late 40s to late 50s era, driving the old giant Cadillacs around, playing some Peggy Lee on a scratchy radio, it sets a mood right away.
Yep.
And it's not going to turn out well. I really did get that, the throwback to the Overlook Hotel from The Shining when I was watching that. And I'd say that as a big fan of both the book and the movie. Bring it on. I'm all for a little more sort of classic horror vibe.
Now that you guys have both said that, I think it's cleared up in my mind a little bit. One of the things that I said when I posted this up in our group is that, so in the first couple of seasons, it was really clear what they were influenced by, from the 80s. And suddenly, and then thinking, of course, of Robert Englund being cast and the haunted house and so on, I think this season is going to be influenced by Nightmare on Elm Street-esque horror. And
they have said that they are growing with the kids.
Yes.
Russo brothers have, thank you for that. have absolutely said that they are growing with their cast, and so the story will grow also.
Yep.
They've never been shy about just putting their influences on a platter, like even like their Resident Evil ones, which ow completely. So yeah, now we're getting into those 90s, that 90s horror slasher like era, like summer. I can't wait.
It's gonna be a hoot. I'm really looking forward to it. As always, we do not know exactly when in 2022 this will happen. You know,
just something to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll get that announcement at some point, I'm sure. Okay. The next thing they revealed, of the things we're going to talk about, and boy, did they reveal an awful lot. So, ta-dum! There he is, man. There's Dream. There's Morpheus. There's the Sandman right there. We got to see an actual trailer, or a teaser. They called all of the stuff a teaser, of what is probably the very first episode of Sandman, the upcoming series. And it's, in some cases, line for line, a copy of the first issue of Sandman. I mean, it's like, they nailed, it's Neil Gaiman producing, so of course, he can do that if he wants, but they let him make a almost perfect adaptation of his first issue. And, Charles Dance, as Greg has said, Charles Dance could, read, menus or phone, if they had phone books, he could read the Necronomicon and I would still be, ooh, yeah, please, more. He could just read the word Beetlejuice multiple times and I'd still say, do it.
Oh God, I would show up as Beetlejuice and I would be so ready.
I just want to see Charles.
And there
Dance.
goes our monetization. Go, darn it.
No, it was just a show.
Just joking.
I'm excited to see Charles Dance and David Thewlis, two British thespians with a voice that could melt ice, doing reading lines against each other.
Yeah. Or make ice, frankly.
Or make ice, either way. Stephen Fry is going to be great. He's great in whatever he does.
He's great
Kirby Howell-Baptiste is a great addition in that as well. She was fantastic in Cruella.
Yep.
Really enjoyed her. It just the hits literally keep coming.
Patton Oswalt. Jenna Coleman. Yay, Jenna Coleman coming back.
No, sorry. Yay, Patton. For me, yay, Patton. Always, everything, all the time. Jenna Coleman.
Yeah, you weren't a fan? All right.
No, I'm not, but I will never take away from your appreciation of her. I'm not a fan, but I don't actively dislike her.
Yeah,
I just don't like her. I don't like her delivery. It's a me thing.
Okay. All right. I can get that. However, even though we hardly even hear him say a single thing, Tom Sturridge. Yeah. Yep.
Good call.
That's the Bauhaus video that launched 1,000 panties.
Patton Oswalt as Matthew the Raven is really well cast because he's got that weird quirky voice and delivery.
Yep.
That'll slide right into that beautifully. David Thewlis as John D. I mean, that's a Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs character right there. For anybody that's read the series or listened to the audiobook. And kudos to casting Gwen Christie as Lucifer.
Yep.
That's
Yes,
love
perfection.
it. Love it. I hope they ramp up the scenes that she's in because they got her to be in this.
And
Because
don't
Lucifer,
put a helmet on her the entire time.
Yeah,
Lucifer
phasma
doesn't
stuff.
actually. He plays a pivotal role in the series, but isn't in it a tremendous amount. He doesn't appear in a lot of frames of the graphic novel, shall we say?
Yeah.
And I hope you get somebody with as big a fan following as she has, and you don't just put her in two cute scenes and move on.
I'm actually dying to watch the dichotomy of seeing Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer and Gwendolyn Christie as the headmistress of Nevermore Academy in Wednesday, which they just announced the casting of last week, which we talked about. I mean, yeah, literally mind blown. That'll be cool.
Greg, would you say that maybe Gwendolyn Christie is the next generations of Tilda Swinton?
Ooh. I don't think she's as severe as Tilda Swinton.
Also, I think that Tilda Swinton would like to still be thought of as this generation's Tilda Swinton.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. I'll just say you're absolutely right. And Tilda, I still would like to date you. So
I think
this isn't, where there's no swiping right here. This is a show, so.
In the family of Gwendolyn Christie, in the family of Tilda Swinton, who is
Tilda Swinton is conspicuously art house, whereas Gwen Christie does a lot more genre stuff,
right?
Shall we say?
Swinton certainly doesn't shy away from genre stuff.
True, but I don't think she's not the household name, probably, right, because once you're in Star Wars, you're a household name.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I just popped up Gwen Christie's.
Once you're in the MCU,
page.
You're a household name.
That too. Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and Hunger Games. This woman could literally do nothing else in the rest of her movie career and work at every single Comic-Con for the rest of time.
Well, she could also, like Tilda, could also date me. So go incognito.
Okay. Just this is an aside, folks. We really need to move along. What was Gwendolyn Christie in Hunger Games?
That's a good question. I've just popped up the Commander Lime. I don't remember that offhand.
I'm assuming a member of the Resistance, but anyway.
Yep.
All right, so moving on, we got
a
bunch of stuff that we're going to blast through here real quickly with maybe a couple of quick comments or not. Orville. They finally announced how and when it's coming back. Orville will be coming back on Hulu, which again tells you everything you need to know about the fact that Fox really is a Disney product now because it also owns Hulu, and is going to be rebranded to some extent. Even though it's just a continuation, the series continues. It's going to be called The Orville New Horizons. March 10th, 2022 is when it comes back.
Okay.
I'm speculating this is complete, yes, the pandemic slowed it down, I'm sure. I'm guessing that there was an awful lot of behind-the-scenes negotiations with Seth MacFarlane and Disney about where the tone of the show goes. So, if you look at the teaser, they put a little teaser out there, which is it's a shot of the bridge and then some voiceover from lines that are apparently from the upcoming season. And there is hardly a bit of funny. It's actually a lot more Star Trek-like dramatic. And there's absolutely no scatological humor. There's no, toilet humor or any other things that you've come to expect from a Seth MacFarlane show, including the Orville. So it'll be interesting to see. March 10th, folks.
I haven't watched it. I know folks that are big Star Trek fans, and this is an obvious homage, if you will. That say they like it. It's just not something that really caught my interest, and I frankly soured on Seth MacFarlane, even though this is way away from the Family Guy aesthetic, American Dad aesthetic. I got so burnt out on that stuff a while ago and just could not quite get my head into the idea of watching a Seth MacFarlane thing.
Yeah,
I got nothing to say.
When it leans into the Star Trek feel, it's actually really good. When it drifts back into the Ted type stuff, it's pretty stupid. So it's a really mixed bag. Mr. Krakowian, welcome back to the show. Hey everyone, back at you.
Hey
buddy. So next bit of news. That is Euron Greyjoy, Pilu Asbæk, and the news is that he has joined the cast of the upcoming reboot of Salem's Lot. And he is going to be playing a pretty important character, and I can't remember his name, even though I've read the book and seen the movie.
Richard Straker.
Thank you. Yes. So the familiar of the vampire, that is obviously the big bad, and he's pretty much the hatchet man isn't the right word, but yeah, he is the functionary big bad of the big bad for most of the book and I guess the original movie. Um, You know, because the vampire kind of is hands off until, obviously big denouement.
Yeah, it's like Steven Spielberg said, don't show the shark too soon.
Yeah, this is the shark's fixer.
Exactly.
And
Wow.
it's a great casting, I think.
Yeah. It seems like the casting all around is really solid. Alfre Woodard is always great in whatever she does.
Yep.
But he brings a level of maniacal menace.
Creepiness.
Menace is a great word.
Creepiness that is very apropos to the character, and I think he's got a good chance of just crushing this one.
Yep. September 9th, 2022, folks, is when we get to see that. I'm actually looking forward to this quite a bit. I'm a Mainer originally. Stephen King is, my homeboy. The fact that most of his stuff is set in Maine, this, fictional town of all of his fictional towns, Jerusalem's Lot, is one of the most interesting. And the people in it are really interesting.
I am a Gen Xer. I grew up on these books. My parents left me alone literally all the time. There was a bunch of stuff I wasn't allowed to watch, but I could absolutely read. So this is one of them. Longtime Stephen King fan. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. Absolutely. I'll be tuning in.
We'll see whether or not they actually include the rats. So
this was the book that got me into Stephen King. This was the first Stephen King I read, and I can't say I remember a whole lot of salient plot points from a lot of his books, especially as they grew into the size of the Hong Kong phone book. But the scene where the sheriff opens the basement door and walks down the stairs, like the visceral dread, I can literally summon that in my limbic nervous system.
Start sweating
as we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrifying.
The scene
stuff.
that was originally not in the original publication of the book because his editor went, nobody wants to see what you're doing to this guy. Nobody. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Mine was actually, I read Children of the Corn when it was originally published in Penthouse magazine. So yeah, I've been a fan for a long time. I actually did read those magazines, folks.
Mine was
For the
Pet
articles.
Cemetery. Mine was absolutely Pet Cemetery.
Whoa.
Very terrifying.
Yep.
Movie?
Yep.
Nah. Boy, that book was just...
The book, yeah. The book.
Anyway, moving on. This right here, folks, is some of the new cast for the sequel to Aquaman, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And left to right, we have Johnny Zhao, India Moore, and Vincent Regan. And pretty interesting casting, apparently. So Zhao is going to be playing a character called Stingray. Moore is going to be playing Karshawn, which is apparently a long-running villain character in DC Comics. Started out 1963's Green Lantern number 24. A being that was originally a shark and then mutated with radiation, sort of like the Hulk. Regan, the guy in the glasses, is going to be playing Atlan, the ancient ruler of Atlantis. The guy whose trident, the search for whose trident is a big part of the first movie. There was an actor that played him in Graham McTavish, the amazing Graham McTavish, actually played the little bit that you see of Atlan, where you see, him in the hologram where they're trying to find the trident. Anyway, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's funny at times. I looked up Stingray. As soon as I said Stingray, it's like, yeah, of course. I was like, wait, that's a Marvel character. There is an underwater Marvel hero, mostly. I mean, it starts off questionable, but named Stingray, who is incredibly popular for fans of Namor and the Submariner, other titles. He's been around for a long, long time. There is one reference I could find to a DC character called Stingray, and that's actually an alternate Earth Bruce Wayne from Earth 64. Where's the Bruce Wayne reference here? Earth 34. That's the only reference. So if the person with the long hair, Zhao, is going to be playing an alternate Bruce Wayne, I'm intrigued.
Okay.
I think they may be making up a whole new character. I don't know.
Who knows?
But I am looking forward to this. Hopefully it's going to be better than the first one. I thought the first one was dumber than a box of rocks.
I don't know. I've played with some good rocks.
This is true.
I couldn't finish it. Literally, I'm sorry. I tried.
Yeah.
But I was like, no.
It was terrible.
You know the classic quip in Galaxy Quest when Sigourney Weaver says, "Every time I put on the costume, I feel myself getting dumber."
Yes.
That's what this movie was.
Every time you watch the movie, it's like, oh no, my brain cells. However, returning is pretty much the entire original cast, including the hero, the main character of this movie, and anybody who argues with me is going to be told they're wrong. I guess that'll be just a nice way of saying it. And that is Abdul. I always mess up his combo last name. Yahya Abdul Mateen II, who played Black Manta, who was in Watchmen. Who was he's just so good, and Black Manta was the hero of that movie. Fight me. Anyway,
I don't care enough to fight you about it.
Yeah,
No, also, I always thought he was really intriguing back in the cartoon days of Super Friends.
Yep.
Where he showed up a lot, and I was like, I'd like to get to know this person behind the weird. No, seriously. I like that you said that, Rodney, because I was not interested in anything at all except him.
Except him, yeah.
And I still couldn't make it through.
His story is the only truly compelling one in that whole movie. But anyway. Does this say, I don't know that this article that I'm looking at here says when this is scheduled to release. December 16th, 2022. There we go.
Okay.
So it's a little over a year and a couple of months to wait.
And then the Snyder cut will be in black and white 6 months later.
The Wan cut.
Or not.
From what I understand, James Wan was pretty happy with, the final version of Aquaman. Why, I have no idea, but, he's known as a really talented horror director. Let's hope more of that comes out in this movie. Next bit of news. This is Rashida Jones and David, and I always get his last name backwards, Oyelowo. I don't know why I have to transpose the L and the W in his name. My lips will not automatically go to Lowo, whereas they will to Wolo. Don't know why. Anyway.
Sort out your phonemes and your diphthongs, son.
Exactly. The news is that they have been cast as two very important characters in the upcoming Apple TV Plus series Wool, which is based on the, as far as I recall, fairly well award nominated anyway, if not winning, dystopian novel by Hugh Howey by the same name. The story is that it's set in a ruined, post-apocalyptic, toxic future where there's this community that exists in this gigantic underground silo, and it's about the people and the lives where they have a whole bunch of rules about their community that are there to keep them alive, basically, and how people deal with those rules and those restrictions. Oyelowo is playing Halston, who is the sheriff, and Jones is playing his wife Allison, who works apparently at an IT that runs the place. It's Apple TV Plus. I don't have a subscription. I would really like to watch this. I've heard, she said, I do. I don't know how they feel about sharing, but anyway,
I'm happy to, Rodney, but we'll talk about that later.
somebody might be listening. Um,
Shh.
yeah, exactly. I like the sound of this. I thought Greg had told me that he had read this, but I think I just heard it from Greg as one of those books that are sort of on the list that everybody should
It's
read.
been on my list. Oh, and Tim Robbins and Rebecca Ferguson are already in this. I forgot about that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's been on my to buy and or read list for a while. I seem to recall it getting some good mentions from folks folks who I share book opinions with, and just never quite got around to it. But it's an interesting premise. It reminds me a little of kind of like The Giver meets Snowpiercer.
Oh.
Yeah,
For those weird people who loved Snowpiercer, I love dystopian. The moment I started reading about this, I was like, I am going to read this, and I'm either going to devour it or I'm going to say it's trash.
I would be very interested in reading it as well. Anything that's been nominated like that, or is on all of these recommended to read of recent science fiction works.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Like I'm so ready for more dystopian. I've had to take a break from that in the last year and a half.
Having lived in it.
Yes.
Gosh, I wonder why.
All right, we've got 3 more topics to blast through real quickly here, so let's get through those before we can get into the deeper stuff.
Sure.
That is an image that I used from the last time we talked about this The Boys spinoff, and that is 2 of the cast members. I believe that's Jazz Sinclair and Lizzie Broadway. I might be wrong. But the news is that Amazon has given the go-ahead, the green light, to make this as a series. The idea is that this is a spinoff from their current series, which focuses on college-age students who are in the only college run for superheroes, or soups. Of course, the college is run by Vought, because Vought owns all American superheroes. And it's supposed to be somewhat different in tone. It looks like they're going for teen sex romp dramedy with gore. So basically The Boys, but not teens, college age, co-eds. This doesn't. So Eric Kripke is one of the many producers on this thing, and he is quoted as saying, much like Mork and Mindy spun off from Happy Days, which is an insane and true fact, our spinoff will exist in the Vought cinematic universe, yet have a tone and style all its own. Okay, weird comparison. I get it. Then he ends this quote with this comparison. We love the show and can't wait for you to see it. Also, Baywatch Nights spun off from Baywatch and it had vampires. Dude, do you want to invite a comparison to Baywatch Nights? Really?
Why are you trying to sell it so hard? Just let it speak for itself.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's gonna happen.
Whatevs.
What exactly? Whatevs. It's in the Boys universe. It might be interesting. It might be just, oh, look, boobies. And if that's the case, that's not enough to, to make a 1-hour commitment every week. No.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, I watched the first season and really enjoyed it. I just, for some reason, the second season just didn't grab me. It was all right. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it.
The whole cult stuff was a little weird.
Yeah, it felt like it lost the thread of what made sort of the meta commentary around, a superhero fascist or oligarchy.
Well, yeah, except the
technocracy,
fascist part,
whatever you want to call it.
The fascist part of it, they really ranked up.
Yeah.
Lola Elias side story. Yeah, so it's a spin-off from The Boys. It's not based on anything from any of the spin-offs from the comics, and those did happen. There were a lot of those. It's apparently just an idea that Amazon had, or the producers had, or whatever. Let's make this less about, really violent people trying to, do in soups, and make it more about, really good-looking soups, gossip girl with superpowers and way more sex.
Like, yeah, CW, like boning
Yeah,
all the time.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Except you get to see it. Yeah. So anyway, I don't think it has in here. It does not. When this is planning on dropping, because they've just announced that it will in fact have a series. So stay tuned, as they say. All right. Next up, we finally got a cast announcement for the series version of Let the Right One In, which will be on Showtime. This is not from it. This is actually, oddly enough, from a stage play version that was done in London. The image that you're looking at right now. But, so the series looks more at, apparently, the relationship between Eleanor, the sort of permanent 12-year-old young vampire, and her dad, Mark, who's going to be played by Demian Bashir. And Madison Taylor Baez is going to be playing Eleanor. So there's been 2 movies made of this, and apparently a stage play, which is where I got that.
Didn't know about the stage play.
Hmm?
Didn't know about the stage play.
Yeah, neither did I. So there was a Swedish original version, and then there was an American.
That one is a classic, total classic.
Yeah. I'm excited about this. I mean, unfortunately, I don't get Showtime, so I don't know if I'll ever actually wind up watching it. But I love the idea that they're going to do something interesting with this. The book was great. You have to like Scandinavian fiction. It's got its own very specific style, vibe, aesthetic. It's dry. There's very little there's not a lot of metaphor. There's not a lot of flowery language. It's very matter of fact.
Scandinavian fiction is like a birch forest in the winter.
Basically, yeah. A lot of black and white.
Cherry blossoms, and we've got an anime.
But it was, for all that, it was very interesting, atmospheric, and the original movie was great, and it was very whoa, what's going on here? Because they really played down the vampire angle. So it was just about the kid who was getting bullied, and he's got this new friend who sticks up for him. You don't really quite know what's happening. Sorry for the spoilers on a movie that's been out for 15 years, but even the American remake with Chloe Moretz was pretty decent. Not quite as good, but it was decent, and she's generally pretty good in whatever she does. So yeah, I don't know that it'll make me go get Showtime, but maybe I'll sign up for a month and.
There you go. Or see if they have the free preview on something.
Yep.
Do you have Paramount Plus?
I do.
No. Well, maybe that'll make you get it, because they're going to be doing a bundling, because they're all Viacom CBS. So
there you go.
All right. Our last relative quickie, that is, of course, from the most recent adaptation of a Roald Dahl work, the movie Where the Wild Things Are. The news is that Netflix bought Roald Dahl. Well,
wait.
Not him completely. The Roald Dahl Story Company, which gives it the rights to literally everything in the Dahl catalog. Wonka, James and the Giant Peach.
Sorry to be pedantic. That's Maurice Sendak.
Oh, my bad. You're right. That's why it's not listed in this article.
Oh.
So
it's also James Gandolfini.
So picture that I had just put
up.
What
about James Gandolfini?
James Gandolfini played the main beast in the Anderson adaptation that was the live action.
Oh, wow.
Did the voice.
I didn't know that. Now, let's not get confused like I was.
Nope.
So imagine I just put a picture up of one of the many, many recent adaptations of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Or whichever title
starring
you want to use.
Saruman the Dentist.
Saruman the Dentist, exactly. So they get access to all of Dahl's work, Matilda, etc. And they're apparently going to mine the absolute living bejesus out of it. They are essentially going to be creating a Dahl universe.
Yeah.
There's already a Matilda the musical being worked on by Sony for Netflix.
Okay, cool.
Will they exorcise the demons of racism that are
So
implicit in this catalog of stuff?
I would assume so. I mean, if there
hope so.
is within any of Dahl's work actual moments of racism in the books and the works, then you can bet that's not going to be in there.
No.
Apparently, the story company apologized years ago on its website for his blatantly anti-Semitic commentary.
Yes, that too. Absolutely, that too.
So I've read the bulk of his stuff, including his not for children stuff, which is actually much better in a lot of instances. I don't recall a lot of maybe one of the books. Shoot, which one is it? One of his earlier ones does have a very kind of crypto-fascist bent to it. But most of his stuff, the Willy Wonka, James and the Giant Peach, that era of stuff, it's about as squeaky clean as it gets.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's one of those weird things. Like some artists you can separate from their art, and we've talked about this on multiple occasions. Lovecraft, awful, unrepentant, anti-Semite, racist, just truly execrable human being. But his work is his work. You kind of like his books, even though I would punch him in the face if I bumped into him.
Yep.
Roald Dahl, I don't think rose to that level. I'm Jewish. He was definitely anti-Semitic, but I think it was that sort of stiff upper lip British anti-Semitism of the 30s and 40s, rather than putting on a bed sheet and burning crosses on people's lawns. You can't shake a stick at anybody from that era in Britain that wasn't anywhere from marginally to exceptionally anti-Semitic.
The late Prince Philip, perhaps. We've got 4 more topics, folks.
So anyway,
we're moving on.
The notion of a unique universe across animated and live action, this is just smacks of, we got to monetize the crap out of this first. And if content is decent, great.
They're not going to spend millions without the expectation of making tens or hundreds of millions. So
I got to say, the only thing I read from this article, and I'll shut up, is that the revelation that Taika Waititi is involved in a series based on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
No idea what that means, but Taika Waititi, I'm here.
I didn't know that. That gives me a bit of hope.
I think we talked about that a while ago. I seem to remember that. But anyway, moving on. So one of the things that came out of all things, the Nintendo Direct, the gaming announcement show, was the voice cast for the upcoming animated Super Mario Brothers movie, and it is mostly outstanding. So you've got Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. You've got Charlie Day as Luigi. You've got Seth Rogen as Bowser. Just so much awesome casting here. Jack Black. Keegan-Michael Key.
Sorry, Jack Black as Bowser.
Jack Black as Bowser. Seth Rogen as
Donkey Kong.
Yes, Donkey Kong. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
That little flip right there makes everything much better. Love it.
Perfect. But then your main voice is Chris Pratt as Mario, which a lot of people, at the very least, have wondered: are they going to give him the typical, really terrible Italian accent?
God, I hope not.
Is Pratt going to be able to pull that off?
No.
Is it going to be more like his character from the Lego Movie? But then again, there's other people pointed out, who cares, because it's Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, was Tony Shalhoub busy? I mean, if you got to get somebody to do an Italian character, who's also a really good actor, love Chris or hate Chris, he's a good actor, but he's not a Tony Shalhoub.
Right.
Just right off the top of my head.
As
That,
someone who severely dislikes Chris Pratt and used to like him before he became a not so great human, I actually thought he was really good in the Lego movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was.
thought he actually transcended that thing of a Hollywood actor who is trying to do a voice actor. I think he can actually do both. And I've seen a lot of criticism of like, oh, you're hiring like Hollywood people. You really need to hire voice actors. I think Chris Pratt can do it, but I don't think he's the right person. This casting would be stellar without him. Whatever he does, oh,
It is stellar with him. It would still be stellar without him. Fred Armisen
Fred Armisen.
as
I'm
Cranky
here for
Kong.
Fred Armisen.
You know, I, I'm still obviously going to watch this. It's gonna, with a cast like that, it's gonna be a hoot. There's no question whatsoever. Yeah. I hate the idea that kind of puts more money in Pratt's pocket, but now we're getting back to that. Hate the person, like the product.
yes, I'm going to watch it too, the same way Guardians is still one of my favorite parts of the Marvel franchise. And I do think Pratt can be very talented. Does not mean I like him as a person. And I am disappointed because they could have chosen so many other better people. But the rest of this cast is fire, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep.
It's easier to separate the art from the artist when the artist is dead.
Now I just
I don't know why, it just is.
I noticed this is this is a little possible problem for me. The directors are Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic, who have done who worked on Teen Titans Go and made the Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie.
Oh dear.
The one that gets me a little bit is the screenplay is written by Matthew Fogel, who did Lego Movie 2,
Yep.
which was sort of unwatchable, and the upcoming Minions: The Rise of Gru,
Ew.
which
Ew.
doesn't talk about churning out and monetizing your IP. That doesn't scream auteur.
They could really surprise us.
Absolutely.
And it's the same animation studio that did Despicable Me, all of the
Yep.
Despicable Me sequels, the Minions movies, and so on.
Illumination.
Exactly. Yeah, Illumination.
There you go. So, throw this on our, do we have a release date for this yet? December 21st, 2022.
Yep.
We'll do, so the first show back after New Year's, we'll do schedule a spoiler.
Full fat spoiler chat. Guess what? It sucked. No. Luminous, has the Babylon 5 reboot been mentioned? Not yet.
Coming
But
up.
Guess what?
Guess what?
Our next topic. Right there. Good timing, Luminous. Thank you for the intro. That, folks, is the Alien cast of the original Babylon 5 series. The news is that the original creator, J. Michael Straczynski, is making a complete from the ground up reboot of Babylon 5 for the CW. Generally, reboots, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. If you've got the guy who made the original saying, hey, you know what? Technology has advanced and I've got new ideas. Let's redo it. I'm on board with this one. I'm really on board with this one. One, because the original series was really innovative. I mean, it did stuff in 1993 that nothing else was doing on TV. I'm excited to see where this goes. Anybody else with me? Yep. Yep.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Does that work?
I love Babylon 5 back in the day. Actually, do you know if it's streaming anywhere? Because that would be a show that I would love to get into my rotation.
So in my search, and I'm not sure if this is too late, I believe it was on Amazon and it's leaving.
Okay. So I'll have to see if I can catch that quickly. Yeah, I mean, I remember So God, in the early '90s, I was in my mid 20s, late 20s, whatever, if I can do math. Um, I mean, I was a big sci-fi nerd at that point and absolutely loved this show. It had an element of grounded realism for an otherwise fantastical, silly space opera, if you will. But it was grounded. The characters had some reality to them. They weren't it wasn't John Carter from Mars kind of stuff.
Right.
The plots were great. The effects, I mean, they may look dated now. Again, I haven't seen this since probably the late '90s. They may look really dated 20 some odd years later.
They do,
I'm
but
guessing
they look a
pretty good.
lot better than anything else happening in 1993.
Yep. And it's interesting. I'm looking through the rest of this article. Straczynski not only has done some serious film work, TV work, he's won the Eisner Award for comic writing.
Yep.
He's won Icon. He's won Inkpot Lifetime Awards for books. I wasn't really familiar with him per se, but this is not a Johnny Come Lately
Nope.
writer who's just trying to cash in on IP.
He created and wrote most of Sense8, if you
Yep.
were a fan of that series. He wrote the story for the first Thor movie. He created one of my favorite series from the early 2000s, Jeremiah. Wonderful post-apocalyptic series, post-nuclear war series with Luke Perry. And Michael Jamal Warner,
Wow.
of all people, really a wonderful, serious performance.
Cool.
He is a powerhouse in nerd entertainment. Like you said, he's won Eisner Awards for his comic work. Look at the 1993, folks. Look at the special makeup effects on these people. That's wonderful. And Luminous has said, Luminous, HBO Max, that's what it was. Thank you. Luminous says, I fear the reboot will not be as good as the original, but I'm hoping it has some great moments. Some of the actors were absolutely outstanding. Some of them were 1993 actors for television, for not even broadcast television.
Yeah.
And can you imagine what modern actors will do with this? You just look at the young cast out of Shadow and Bone. Nobody knows any of those people other than Ben Barnes.
Yep.
And they are so amazingly good.
There's some real standouts, like really good.
And that now imagine a group of young actors, or even more mature actors, because a lot of these characters are actually really adult characters. These are not kids. Assuming he doesn't reboot it to be like Babylon 5 High School.
Bite your tongue.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
But yeah,
Riverdale 5.
Exactly, Riverdale 5. Captain Archie Sheridan. Yes.
No.
Yes, no.
Goodness.
Luminous.
I forgot Billy Mummy was in this.
Yes, Billy Mummy as a wonderfully reserved acting performance.
Yep. And I completely blanked on this. Jeff Conaway.
Yep. The taxi himself.
Kaneki himself.
Yep.
Okay. Before my time.
But yeah, it had some really amazing George Takei, not George Takei. Killing me, I can't remember the actor. Chekhov.
Chekhov.
Walter Koenig.
Walter Koenig. There you go.
Walter
George.
Koenig as basically the head of Earth's CIA of that period. Just killer performances. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to this. I don't think it says when this is going to happen. They don't even have it in his IMDb yet. It's in the works, so years, I would say, at least a couple of years. before we see anything like this. And in the works means it could not happen. And please let it happen. I want this to be another Battlestar Galactica. Because it could be. All right. 2 more topics. That, of course, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you know exactly who that is. That is the 9th Doctor. That's Christopher Eccleston. That is Billie Piper as Rose Tyler. The news is, and you could hear the cheers from here, Russell T Davies, the man who brought Doctor Who back in 2005 from complete, you can't say obscurity, from not being on the air, is coming back to be the showrunner for Doctor Who again.
Rodney, no, go ahead.
I was just saying, for all of you this is the man who created Rose Tyler and Donna Noble and the Jadoon and the Ood and so many, Captain Jack.
Yeah.
Torchwood.
Oh my God.
The better than Doctor Who series. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. You keep going because then I'm going to go.
Go.
Okay.
Go.
I have been waiting for this topic. I am so thrilled. I grew up with Doctor Who. Like, that was one of my mom's favorite things. I didn't even know what was happening. There was I'm a Dalek. And I'm like, I didn't know, but I loved it. And my mother would always talk to the TV. And I'm like, I get this. And then later I got to rediscover Doctor Who as an adult with Russell T Davies. And as a queer person, it really meant a lot to me to rediscover it with a queer showrunner, which means the world to me. And again, Russell T Davies gave us John Barrowman, gave us Torchwood, gave us all this great stuff. Captain Jack. Oh my gosh. And he's coming back. I have been in a lot of discussion groups because I'm in a lot of discussion groups for Doctor Who. And it's been weird with younger people who've they only know Russell Davies through Billie Piper as Rose. They're like, I just think he just writes women as Mary Sue's. And my eyes literally could not get any bigger.
If there is a non-Mary Sue, it's Donna Noble. I mean, she's a wonderful character, but boy, is that a human character.
Oh my gosh, that exactly. And so I have what I'm going to do is savor it, watch the heck out of it, talk it up. Hopefully, maybe we can do it on the spoiler thing when the new season comes around. But gosh, I am so thrilled to have the essence that gave us 9 and 10 and Donna Noble and Billie Piper and Rose. And I couldn't be happier.
Yep. Yeah, I completely forgot to mention about that. The doctors are the doctors, but under his tutelage, they brought on Tennant. So 9 and 10 are Russell T Davies doctors. And so some of the most classic episodes you can think of in Doctor Who, say nothing of Neil Gaiman's, Nightmare in Silver and or Study in Silver, Nightmare in Silver. Anyway, the introduction of Clever, brilliant,
which are
even under Moffat,
and amazing, and just not their own iconness.
Exactly. Luminous, Russell T Davies. No one has done it better since then. I think everybody agrees. Lolo Elias, old school Doctor. I want to watch again. I think everyone agrees.
Thank you, Luminous. Thank you so much. You will not be disappointed. If you have not watched the one season of Eccleston and all of David Tennant, then you have missed out on some of the most heart and soul of Doctor Who, and really what I think is the heart and soul of modern Doctor Who.
Yep.
Because no diss to Matt Smith, but it totally changed when the showrunner changed.
He was an executive producer on Queer as Folk.
That
I didn't know that. I knew that he had done all of the Doctor Who stuff in what I consider their great period of expansion. Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Chronicles.
Yes.
those were all his. He created all of that. Yeah, this is going to be huge, folks. I'm upset Russell T Davies didn't bring back rock quarry shoots. All right, that's a deep Doctor Who dig / admiration production cut there, Luminous. But I do remember that was, kind of the default for the Fourth Doctor. Oh my God, it's, some period in the future where things are bad. Shoot it in a rock quarry. Anyway, so this is going to be fantastic. So the upcoming season is the last one with both Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor and David Chibnall.
As
the showrunner.
I think it's Chris.
Chris Chibnall. Yes, thank you.
Yep, there we go.
And so it won't be until after this coming up season, that we get Davies back and whoever the new Doctor will be.
And we get to go back into that fun speculation that any Doctor Who both dreads, Doctor Who fan both dreads and loves, is who's going to be the next Doctor. And I'm here. I'm so here for it.
The speculation has begun. Are we going to get our first canonically queer Doctor? Now, I don't know that that 13, that Jodie Whittaker has ever expressed any romantic interest in anybody. But prior to that, most of the Doctors have been, well, that's not true. 10 was certainly pansexual.
My Doctor forever.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of us are talking about queer, POC, maybe a little bit of both.
Yep.
For sure. So I know I have mine. I have my pick, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We do have another topic to get to.
We have one more topic. I just want to say, whoever the new Doctor is, if it's going to be a cis white dude, it better be the best casting ever. It better be like literally mind-blowing casting. Otherwise,
please don't.
Don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. Anyway, our last topic, it's the image that was in the thumbnail. The thing that everybody, if you were watching the Netflix Tudum on YouTube, literally every third comment was, Bebop when? Bebop teaser? Bebop when? And they dropped it. We got John Cho and his hair, as he said.
Yes.
Introducing this, and we got to see some actual video footage from scenes in the series, but the big thing was you got to see the entire opening credit, and they use the original Yoko Kanno jazz track. It is such a beautiful homage to the anime opening credit. I lost it, folks. I was just, 3, 2, 1, let's jam, and literally goosebumps. I mean, you could grate cheese on my arms.
Oh, okay. I'm Marv.
Okay, that may
never use that metaphor again.
Yes, thank you. You could have played Connected Dots on my arm, so put it that way. Okay, there we
go.
Come on, folks, gush with me.
Well, I'm ready to gush. One of the first things that happened when all of this came out was people dissing on Faye Valentine's actress and her look, which, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Y'all have to start really separating animation from real human bodies. If you haven't learned how to do that yet, start now, because I think this is going to be amazing. I think it might be one of the best ones yet that we see of like a classic, like an icon, like a whole part of culture going into live action. And so starting with the I don't like her costume. She's too short. Nah, you don't get it.
Where's the booty shorts?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. People are gonna freak. for no good reason other than that's what people on the internet do. If you can't take some joy in the fact that this looks like a faithful, well-executed, brilliantly filmed, gorgeous scoring, interesting, atmospheric. I mean, you want to talk about an aesthetic, about a vibe. I mean, this has got that in by the bucket load. You're never going to be happy with anything.
Yeah.
Go back and just watch the original Star Wars again and shut the hell up.
I guess, the things that they showed, I wonder how much the director of this is going to be copying literally image for image the direction of Watanabe-san from the original anime, because the scene in the stained glass window, the scene of Spike walking through the streets of Mars, I mean, it is literally Watanabe's image from the anime. And I'm fine with that. I actually think that's fantastic. They've got to stretch it out, because there are some things you just can't do. As realistic as the direction is in the anime. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing some stuff that isn't a one-for-one perfect recreation of Watanabe's direction, to see how the director expands on it or plays out in a different fashion.
Yep.
That's a great thought and a great critique, because I think a lot of us, like me, for example, have been very happy.
Oh, I'm thrilled. But yes, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that. But you can't just placate us. You have to tell this in live action.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it becomes Sin City. And I don't think that's what it's going to be. There's no indication that it's going to be like that.
Which I also loved the first one, but...
Yeah, I did too. But there's a difference between being a director and bringing your own... I mean, Robert Rodriguez is a brilliant director. He certainly could have directed the hell out of a regular adaptation of Sin City.
Yeah, that was pure comics totally gotcha.
Yep.
Now, where's Ed? We still have not seen a picture of Ed, a casting announcement of Ed. Who's gonna be Ed?
Okay, it's time to reveal it's me.
Okay, I was actually just about to say, oh my God, I've been keeping this under wraps, but it's totally gonna be Greg.
No, I'm Ed.
I was just about to say that.
You look like a completely gender neutral teen. I'm like 100%.
I do. This is all prosthetics.
Yeah,
this is all.
He pulls the beard off.
I'm hours in the makeup chair before every show.
I'm really fascinated. For them not to reveal Ed implies that there's going to be some sort of amazing reveal. Because if it's not, it's just, why didn't you? Why didn't you?
That's a miss.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see. You're right, Rodney. At this point, it has to be an amazing reveal with all this hype, with so much riding on like every reveal, every teaser, every trailer they do. So they better make it work. And if they totally had someone and it fell out, don't let us know.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's a good point. Yeah. So there are two things that it could be that would be horrible. They could not have an Ed, which I just can't imagine that happening.
I don't think you can do that.
I don't think you can. I agree. The character is too important. Or they're changing the nature of the character. And they're just hiding that fact because they don't want to deal with the garbage. I also don't think they would do that. First off, I don't think Watanabe would let them. But, yeah. Let's hope, here's the thought, let's hope it's that they're just actually trying to protect whoever the actor is from the wave of garbage that's going to be dumped on their head if they're not femme enough, if they're not neutral enough, if they're not tall enough, if they're obviously neutral. Because there's going to be a lot of people who, even if they love Cowboy Bebop, they're still, for some reason, not accepting the fact that Ed is, a neutral character. So
I think that, yeah, that's the thing. I think though, Spike, John
Cho.
Cho, thank you. John Cho, I think that was kind of accepted. Yeah.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
people think that's a great casting.
I do.
Yep.
I absolutely do too. But then, like, everything else, did we cast? Did we cast Ein yet? Did we
Yes,
cast?
you do get to see Ein. Finally, I know. I mean, it's not in
Did
the.
anybody come for the corgi?
So there's this really long, slow reveal in the Tudum event where you get to see like Ein sitting in a director's chair, but just like half of his face, and then it slowly opens up as like a clock opening up around. And I thought that was going to eventually, once it opened up fully, go, oh, and here's Ed. And they didn't do it. It's like, okay, I get that that's kind of like a big reveal for Ein. Either they wasted an opportunity or there's a really important reason why they're not doing that. So
I'm gonna hope that it's a reveal. It's keeping some cards in the deck.
Yep.
And not just, here's everything, folks. Diss on it now. Give it a chance to breathe. Give it a chance to be a thing. It could be terrible. I mean, I don't know. Looking at the opening credits, and it's opening credit. It's not a trailer. It's not outtakes from episodes. The show itself could look and sound and feel completely different. I think it's improbable, but it could.
Right.
But judge it on its own merits. Just watch it. If you like it, great. If it's terrible, okay, it might be. Who knows?
Yeah.
This is going to be better than that Death Note on Netflix. So trust.
Thanks for setting that bar right down about here.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty low bar.
Seriously, but still, yeah,
Yeah, it is. Yes, it will be. And speaking of needing to breathe, I need to breathe among other things. So we're wrapping the show up, folks. That's it. 90 minutes. Okay.
That's a lot of stuff.
It was a lot of stuff, and I expected it to be a long show. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging with us, for talking about all of this good stuff. I'm not going to invite a could we please. I will simply mention our patreon.com/nerdcaliber. Please, everybody, go check it out. At least just check it out, whether you decide to actually become a patron or not. Let's go back around this way. Gogo, if you would give us a goodbye.
Hi, I'm Gogo Incognito, and you can always find me on Instagram at gogo_incognito.com. I generally keep that updated. You can find out what I'm doing here and around the country.
What's that radio thing again?
Oh, yeah. I'm a new host on Radio Margaritaville, which is a Sirius XM channel. And also, you can actually listen to me for free at radiomargaritaville.com.
Cool. Greg, give us a goodbye.
Love it. Night, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for tuning into the show. We will see you hopefully next week. If you're around southeast of Boston this weekend, Red Raven Studios, we're having an open house on Sunday. Check us out on social media for information. And for anybody that's going to be at New York Comic Con, unfortunately, I will be, of the three of us who are usually there, only I will be there this year, but we will be doing our fun and fabulous cosplay and photography shootout on Friday at 2:00. If you're in the Javits and you want to come enjoy a fun afternoon or a fun hour-long event with some really cool photographers making really cool stuff with cool cosplayers, check it out.
Yes. Friday, 2 p.m., folks. Bring your camera, bring your costume, or just come in and sit and watch all these people go nuts. It's a lot of fun.
Don't bring your kitten, because
yeah, do not bring your kitten, because they would have to wear a mask anyway. So, and on that note, folks, that's it. We will have a team at New York Comic Con. Check out Greg, try to find him, get some pictures, and we will see you at an upcoming show Thursday night. Full fat spoiler chat is and there goes my other light. He-Man. And the Masters of the Universe, the new CGI version that's on Netflix, that's going to be our topic. And next, Anime Octane, Monday is going to be Godzilla Singular Point. So check us out, folks. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.